Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mark Goldberg from Mark Vlogs Watches, with perhaps one of the most unflattering camera angles you are ever going to see of me. So I'm going to, I'm going to play a little around with this. Hang on. I'm going to put a book under here. Valen Grey Moon is first with a fist. Valen, I don't know how you do it. I would accuse you of being a stalker, but lately I have an actual stalker. You know, you think it's going to be fun to have a stalker, but then, it just turns out to be kind of, oh, look. We've got Let Dogs Be Dogs in the background. Let dogs be dogs, fuckers. You would like to support this channel? Jupiter, I had a request for Jupiter from Smoke Eater. And, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Come here. Friday, come here. I have my German Shepherd out. And actually, she's cat-friendly. But she and Jupiter have not met yet because Friday is a little bit new. She's gorgeous, though. And is that a beautiful... Let me tell you something. Before we start talking about watches, let me fully introduce myself. This is Mark Goldberg from Mark Vlogs Watches. This is a live stream on the Mark Vlogs Watches channel. I drink coffee, and I talk about watches and dogs. Take that, Adrian, Barkin' Jack. This is Barkin' Mark, Barkin' with Mark. I noticed that Adrian isn't drinking coffee anymore. I think he's given up the entire coffee etre, I think he's realized that there's very limited joie de vivre, or Google ads, in coffee and a whole lot more in watches. So congratulations, that was a good move. But this is a live stream, not to be confused with Crappy Watches and Cheap Horrors crap stream. So don't mind if I have the occasional slurp. Guys, we're going to have a discussion here. I don't know if it's going to be long or brief. More than likely it's going to be brief. See that there? That is a swollen salivary gland, which I am instructed to occasionally milk. Doesn't that sound horrible? I have to milk my gland. Apparently, as you get older, you can get gravel up in there. If any of you are an ear, nose, and throat guy and know about like a laparoscopic procedure to remove salivary gland stones, please talk to me in the privately. Anyway, okay. So, and yes, sucking on a lemon and all that works. Now we've got our Wags. Hi from Northwest Indiana. Love dogs and watches in that order. I'm very similar. Smoke Eater says, see you in July. Sounds good. I don't know who you are, Smoke Eater. I mean, I know you're a fan of this channel. I see you in the comments, but please introduce yourself if we run into one another. I think you're talking about the Cardinal Conclave. Now, we might as well get right to the mashed potatoes, the meat and potatoes of this particular video. And I bought yet another lower cost watch. Now, I fully expect to take a lot of crap in the live stream comments, but a lot of you are going to be watching this video after it has uploaded to YouTube. And I just want to make you aware I will be talking to people in the live stream, but I will be in the comments once it's uploaded. So if you've got questions, concerns, comments, considerations, we can talk about that. So please do leave a comment. But here's the thing, fellas. I don't have anything. Sorry, I just had a salad. Wanted to make sure. Felt a little something there. Okay. This is the stuff that I edit out when I upload a properly edited video. And I usually shave, but sorry. This is a spur of the moment live stream. People in my live stream comments are most often following my channel for the high-end watches, So basically, come for the Rolex, stay for the, the lower tier watches. And so I fully expect to take a certain amount of crap for what I'm about to show you. But here's the thing, in training dogs, I'm constantly in and out of kennels. I'm banging into things. I'm hard on the watches. I'm not a big weenie. I don't mind seeing, normal use on a watch. But I'm in and out of like all these metal doors constantly throughout the day, reaching in. And it would be very easy for me to gouge my watches, and that is not to be confused with gouge out or growl out. I really don't want like major dings, dents. I don't want to have to, you know, wrap my arm in bubble wrap in order to do my job. So I wear a G-Shock at those moments, but I just wanted something else that I didn't care what happened to it. And that brings us to the quick fist watch check. And here it is. Now, some of you are going to be a little upset with me, but you're going to have to cope with this. This is a Phoibos. I don't know how you say this. I think Phoibos. We're going to take it off. We're going to look at it. And I want you to understand that this is not intended to compete with Rolex. This is what I wear when I don't want to destroy a Rolex on the one hand. On the other hand, you people have to understand that there are lots of individuals in the world where buying an automatic watch like this, because this is the automatic version, it's a major expense. I mean, look, I'm going to give you a detailed process about how I bought this watch, because I bought it at Long Island Watches. Now, I probably, real quick, let me set the scene. I'm probably the only schmuck who has actually paid for a Phoibos. And I say schmuck, meaning YouTuber, because Phoibos has given these away, you know, to most of the reviewers. But I'm not the kind of guy who wants to write a letter and says, hey, you want to give me a freebie in return for a freebie? You know, and also I thought, while I'm buying it, let me buy it from Long Island Watch so I can review Mark's. You know, I don't know Mark. I watch his channel, same as you, probably sometimes. Disturbs me that he wears watches on both wrists. Mark, if you quit wearing watches on both wrists, I might watch your channel even more. But nonetheless, I confess I like it. You're an entrepreneur. You're doing what you love. You're selling watches. Okay. But I wanted to buy it from Long Island Watch so I could also review for you the process of doing that. And so I will talk to you a lot more, you know, about that as we move through this. But let me just say that my cost factor on this watch, and we're going to look at it in some detail, my cost factor on this watch was a grand total whopping $284, including delivery, okay? So I want you to bear in mind that this is a sub $300 watch when you are judging it and when you are judging me. Smoke Eater asks, how much coffee did I drink this morning? And a lot. Do I sound a little over-caffeinated? It's possible. I'm going to try and calm down and feel my center as we do this. But yeah, I've had a lot of coffee. Neo, Mark's ultimate collection gives him street cred, and he genuinely loves his shitters. Well, that's true. Although I sold a bunch of Breitling. Vintenier, why wear a watch at all? Because Vintenier, I, unlike you, do not like to skinny dip in public, okay? I don't like to walk around naked. That would be why. I mean, but Vintenier has literally no shame. I mean, I literally saw the man eat ice cream in the ladies' toilet. I mean, I literally saw this. I probably have video of it someplace. Wags says, Mark, I have Rolex dress watches, but for physical labor, I wear a military GI Hamilton or a Tudor Ranger. Well, I hear you. I have a G-Shock and I have a Tudor, but like I don't want to like ding up my Tudor. The Tudor is like a $2,500 watch. And I feel like, do I really want to like just crunch up a $2,500 watch? I'd rather destroy a $250 watch and not feel bad. And that's what we have here. But I want to mention to you guys, listen, you have to bear in mind $283, which is what I spent on this watch. To some people, that's like major. All right, that's major. For some people, that's like, you know, a week's wages. So I don't want to. You know, I don't want to sound like some rich bitch who has zero respect for people who are less fortunate than me, or maybe for people who are younger, or maybe, you know, working at McDonald's or Home Depot, you know, to buy their watch. Like, listen, there should be a decent watch at every level. And there is. There are decent $200 and $300 watches that you can buy. And then you get up into there's some people in this audience right now. Like if you take my most expensive watch, which I guess would be the two-tone Sky Dweller. There are people in this chat room right now who have watches that make that look sick, pitiful, and, you know, they make it look like a shitter because they got Richard Mille, you know, watches. There's people in this chat room right now who have six-figure watches. And I'm just not one of those people. So I don't want to sneer at somebody who says, hey, $300 is a lot of money for me on a watch. I remember when I was in college buying Seikos at department stores, and those things, man, back in those days, they were not all that water resistant. They were not all that shock resistant typically. And they didn't have sapphire crystals, so they'd get scratched up. And, you know, those watches lasted me about a year. And I remember buying them with great love, you know, at these department stores, because I knew whatever I bought has to last me about a year. And those watches cost me about $75 each. And it was like a huge, it was hard to do that. Okay, so back to this watch. Let me get the calipers. Don't move. The calipers are very close, and I want to talk to you about the calipers. Coming back. Now, you guys who are regular fans of this channel may remember the metal caliper debacle, in which I made a video about how I scratched up one of my watches using metal calipers. And I said, geez, they should make them out of plastic. And tons of you said they do. Most of you rubbed my face in it or said, you know, that I should have put tape on the metal bits of the calipers. So many of you took delight in rubbing my face in the fact that I'm an idiot, and I used metal calipers on my Rolex. I think it was I don't remember which Rolex, but one of my Rolexes, one of my Rollies. Ooh, we're getting a call. We're getting a phone call. I'm going to put it to voicemail, guys, because it's not the rancher. Okay. Many of you rubbed my face in the fact that I'm an idiot and used metal calipers. Only one of you sent me plastic calipers, and that was Mark Stapp. And he sent me these plastic calipers from some country, not the United States. So these are plastic calipers sent to me by Mark. Thank you, Mark. He's the only guy who said, you're an idiot, but let me help you. The rest of you just said, you're an idiot, and go help yourself. Okay. Now, this Phoibos is the 1,000 meter ocean something. Hang on a second. My German Shepherd is back there like asking to be let out. Let me make sure she's not going to dump on the floor. Don't move. No, you're not going anywhere. I just had her out, so I think she's going to be okay. This is advertised as I think the Ocean Master, the Phoibos Ocean Master. It's a 1,000-meter diver. It's kind of chunky, guys. We're going to talk about that, the chunkiness and the design and the practicality of it. But bear in mind, this is a $299 watch. Now you're asking, why did I pay $284 for it? Because I bought it from, and I am not being paid for this. Mark, I am not being paid. You could pay me, Mark, but you know, an extra discount might do it. You know, might get you more videos. But I had a good buying experience. I bought this from LongIslandWatch.com. And they have this thing where if you've never bought from them before, and if you register for their newsletter, which I have done, you get, on your first purchase, you get a 5% discount code. So I got $14 or something like that off of this watch. And so my grand total, including shipping, was $284. Shipping was quick. Communication was excellent. The website, shopping on that website is very good. I got tracking emails. I mean, Mark has got his shit buttoned down, fellas. So if you're looking for the kind of watches that he sells, which are, you know, a Rolex collector like myself would call these lower tier watches, lower mid tier and low, you know, level watches. But there's some fun stuff there. You should take a look. He's got like 50 different brands. Anyway, this is unpaid, unsolicited, but I had a really good buying experience. Communication was excellent. And he had no idea who I was, so I just went through the system like anybody would. Okay, this is supposed to be a 43 millimeter watch, but I'm going to calibrate real quick, and okay, and I'm going to measure, and I'm going to tell you it's 43.8. It's upside down and backwards, but you get the point, 43.8. So really, this is a 44 millimeter case, and it's chunky because you can see how that bottom part of the screw and case back, you know, drops down. Now we're going to talk about where this is made and more information about this brand in just a minute. But let's check the thickness and it is 15.2. So it is chunky. Now, as far as weight goes, it is also weighty. This is all solid steel, stainless steel. You can see that the links are solid steel links. They're not folded metal. The only thing that's even vaguely kind of cheap on this is this clasp, this claspy bit. But the closure part of the clasp is milled out, and there are 3 micro adjustments, which is not a lot, but at least it's something. And oh, there is one other slightly cheap thing, but it's nice to have, which is the dive extension. That's made out of stamped metal also. Okay, so what are the good things about this? Well, first let's talk about the specs. It has a helium release valve. Unlike Archie, it only has 1 helium release valve. I would call it the Archie, you know. So this is the AC, you know, 1.5. This is not a full AC3 watch. Okay, it's got the crown down here at 4 o'clock, and get a look at these crown guards. They really protect this thing. But I think the note of, there's a couple really notable parts about this watch. And really, first, I don't think we can go any further without talking about the design cues. This thing is really super unique. Now, some people have said that it is an homage to another brand called Deep Blue, which has the Ocean Master or something like that. The reason that those people have accidentally called it an homage is here's what they didn't realize. Deep Blue and Phoibos, they're both micro brands, so none of them own a factory. None of them really own machinery that makes parts. They just go to, in China, they just go to these jobbers, these factories that make cases and hands and import movements and, you know, make or buy bracelets. And they basically are buying a watch on assembly, right? And so this is just some standard case. Let's say that this is case model XJ2/3, and anybody could go in there and buy it. So if you guys want to buy the Goldberg Ocean Master, which I would probably nickname the Gin Tingler, because it's always wet and, you know, you dunk it, it's going to be dripping in it, and it's permanently sealed, rarely needs lubrication. So I might call it the Gin Tingler. But I could go to China, find the guy who makes this case, tell him you know, I want a dial. We're going to talk about this dial, but, you know, I could have him assemble, make this whole thing. It would say the Goldberg Gin Tingler in here, and then bam, I'm a micro brand watch guy, right? So the whole building a watch, if you're a micro brand guy, well, most of those guys, 95% of the micro brands are not building watches. They're assembling them out of China, which is where this one is assembled from. So most of this stuff is Chinese. And at $284, you know, of course it's Chinese. Here's the funny thing, though. This bezel, well, let's just finish with the design cues. This is really unusual, these deep molded cuts. And these cutouts or serrations, really unusual looking. The design for this case, to me, looks very, very Art Deco. If you look at Art Deco architecture, if you look at Art Deco jewelry, Art Deco fashion design, which I believe was in the 1930s in the United States, boy, does it look like this stuff here. So to me, this is very, it's not modern, it's extremely retro. And it's very, very strong design cues from the Art Deco era. So I think it's really, really an unusual, you know, really an unusual piece. Now, the crystal is sapphire for $284. That's pretty damn good. Sapphire crystal, 1,000 meters of water resistance. I could live without the helium release valve, but I just keep it closed. The bezel, guys, the bezel is what, can you hear it? The bezel is what Seiko bezels would be if Seiko bezels didn't suck as bad as they do, all right? It sort of has the feel of a Seiko bezel without the mush, but it's very precise. It's clicky. There's no back play. There's no wobble. I had a ball watch where the bezel actually wobbled. It was a $2,500, you know, hydrocarbon engineer with a wobbly bezel, and I talked to other owners of the same watch, and they all did it. This is perfect. And it lines up exactly. Now, also, the loom is painted on. and it's C3 Superluminova, which is one of the, if not the brightest looms. So the loom on this thing is like stupid. You get it out into the sunlight, you walk back in, it glows, and it glows for like 8 hours. So it doesn't take much to charge it, and it holds loom like a lot. I do kind of like that orange hand, so it makes timing things very easy. But if we were to say, what are the cheapest things about this watch? Well, the first real cheap thing that you note are the hands. Like if you take micro shots of these hands, you could see they're a little rough cut, you know, so if you like blow up a photograph, you know, the hands here are not, you know, this is not white gold Rolex precision tooling here, guys. It's not. The movement, it's not awful. It's a Seiko NH35. Now in the deep blue Seamaster Ocean Pro, whatever it is, the deep blue version of this case, they put an NH36 movement in it. So instead of just a date window, the deep blue version of this almost identical looking watch has date, which is nice. But they sell it for about $100 more. So you pay about $100 more for that feature. I didn't really care that much about it. The movement, the NH35, it's hand winding, it's hacking. It's not a particularly accurate movement. This one is fast, which is so much better than having a movement that's slow. I'm grateful that this one is fast, and it's fast 20 or 25 seconds a day, which is like a lot. You know, my Sky Dweller, my Rolex Sky Dweller is off. It's fast also, thankfully, but I think it's fast maybe a quarter second a day. It's like, it's so ridiculously accurate. It's almost as accurate as quartz. I don't know how they do it. It's amazing. And this is nothing like that. All right. But that's a $15,000 watch. And this is a $284 watch. And all I do is once a day, I stop it for 20 seconds and then start it up, and it's fine. The loom is amazing. Now the bracelet is very heavy duty. The clasp is good. The only thing that's slightly crappy about the bracelet is it uses friction pins instead of screws at the price point. I'm okay with that. Thankfully, it doesn't use pins and collars. It uses those split end friction pins, and those are so much easier to work with. Any of you who have ever done sizing on a like a Seiko Turtle and have had collars and pins go flying, you know how maddening that can be. This is, you know, so much easier. Okay, so I don't, you know, expect the current crop of people in the room, you know, to like this watch. I just wanted something that I could wear that was an automatic watch, that wasn't, you know, battery operated, that had, you know, dive capacity, and that I could, like, literally, if I broke the crystal on it, I would just throw it in a, you know, in the recycling bin. I wouldn't even worry about trying to service it. The service to service this watch is be ridiculous. This is a disposable watch. Service costs would be more probably than the watch itself. An NH35 movement, my best guess is that you could go on eBay and buy one for $30 or $40 right now. So if you were any good, you know, like Random Rob, like he could mod this watch to his heart's content, and he could like install a whole new movement. You know, I don't know how to do that stuff. All right. I'm going to have a quick look at Clyde. I'm getting texts. Hi, Clydesy. I didn't know you were in the room or watching. Clyde says, why the hell would you recycle that? Yeah, no, probably I would shoot it. Oh, the other thing is it's heavy. Okay, this is the only funny thing about it. This thing weighs in, and I took out 2 or 3 links, and mine still weighs in at 211 grams. That's heavy. Okay, that's James Cameron heavy. But here's the funny thing. It kind of lays well on the wrist. And so even though you're wearing almost half a pound on your wrist, it's not unbalanced. It doesn't feel bad. I kind of like it. Okay. Clive says, Mark is a sizing queen. Let me go back. I'm going to flip back and read some of these comments now. Hang on, I'm catching up. Jerry says, love your channel, and I'm from Elgin going to Portillo's. Nice, Jerry. And just remember, I have a big German Shepherd, and you know, don't visit without an appointment. I only say that because there is a Jerry out there with whom I've had a little bit of trouble. I don't know what is it about me. Okay, guys, I'm not all that good looking. I don't know if you've noticed. So why I'm attracting my fair share of stalkers, I'm not entirely sure, but I kind of have. Donkey Balls says, "Lady boys, what is my favorite micro brand?" asks Stefan. And you know, I don't have a favorite one. I guess I don't know. Borealis, I have one of those. I'm like trying not to accumulate lots of junk. Bintinier says, "Suburban Dog Gentry." Thank you, Jen. Tyler says, $283 for a week's wages. That would hurt, really hurt. Well, yeah, it would. But there's parts of the country and parts of the world where that's the reality, you know, and we have to face the facts that, you know, throwing down $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 for a Rolex is just not in everybody's world. And let's just say it right now. Hi, Friday. Here's my girl. It's my girlfriend. Look at these teeth. Come on in. Come on into this house uninvited. See what happens. Anyway, you know, we have to face facts that there's, you know, people and parts of the world where she's stealing the show here, where $283 is just like a fuckload of money. Okay, so I'm respectful about that. Donkey Ball says, "Beware of catching Phoibos something in my anus." Thank you. I will try and keep it out of there. See if I can do it. Mr. Billy wants to know if Archie is on my fridge. No, there's like all the, you know, the kids and family, you know, nieces, nephews on the fridge. Neo, this was retracted by Facebook, but it showed to me a 34 millimeter is too small to be worn on my wiener. What the hell are you talking about? Well, he was talking to somebody else, because I do own one 34 millimeter watch, but I never wear it. It's an old Rolex date. It was my first one. I bought it in the 80s. Factman says, "I have a cheap watch for days when there's potential for damage, landscaping, renovating, and crazy nights out where drink is involved. $150, no name Flagger, which is bashed up but works great." Well, that's, you know, half of the Rancher's collection is, you know, old Nazi watches. So I think everybody needs, you know, a watch or two that they can go out and enjoy, and then beat the shit out of and lose and crack and throw away and not feel bad. Everybody needs that. Factman then says he's telling Neo that a G-Shock will be next. And I like a G-Shock. But, you know, if you're not careful, you wind up with 10 G-Shocks. And some G-Shocks are selling at $300, $500, $600. And I think that's too much to pay for a G-Shock. I do not need a G-Shock that connects to my phone via Bluetooth, that goes to the atomic clock. I don't need all that. Flippin' Zippo wants to know if this counts as wrist herpes. You know, probably. You know, if anybody else. Vintinier's last comment. Oh, look how cute. Vintinier's last comment is Hisham paid $283 for his last slave. Well, I don't, you know, I was not born a Maharaji. You know, I do not call my wife Mem Sahib. You know, I do not slap the teawala, you know, when my tea is too cold. Matt says, "Sorry, I just joined you. WTF if you bought Mark." Well, Matt, welcome aboard. Brace yourself, Matt. It's going to hurt. Are you ready? Here it is. It's a $283 Phoibos Ocean Master that I bought from Long Island Watches. But in my defense, it's only $283 with a Seiko NH35 movement, accurate within 24 seconds per day. And you realize if something is accurate within 24 seconds a day, this watch is gaining 1 second every hour. You know, I have a Rolex that doesn't gain a second in, you know, in 2 days, let alone, yeah. So this is not an expensive watch, but everybody needs something that they can beat the crap out of and not worry about. And this is the one that, oh, and here's the other thing. I'm almost certain that if and when I get tired of this thing, I can throw it up on eBay and probably get not every penny I paid, but like, you know, 85% of my money back. I'm almost certain of that. So like, yeah, I'm not too worried about this. Okay, hold on. I'm catching up here. Hisham paid $283 for his last life. That's just not nice. check out the new Bulova Computron. Well, I did see that, and I wish that they hadn't made it so stylized. I wish they had just reissued. It's an LED. Push the button, you know, and see the LED readout of the time. And I would have liked that a lot better if it was just straight up original reissue. But they extra 70s it. So I didn't like that too much. Neo, when Mark says that's too much to pay for a G-Shock, that doesn't mean the 30th anniversary model I'm selling on eBay for $650. No, actually, Neo, that watch, if you're selling that for that particular one, I think that's the all metal, the real shiny one. If you're selling it for $650, I think they originally sold and sold out quickly for $600. So they were going for like $800 for a couple weeks there, and now they're dropping back down. But I know, I don't think that's crazy, actually. Hey guys, this is Roger Chavez. Hey guys, first time on Gayberg's channel. Be gentle with Mark. Pretend I am a virgin twink. You or me? You said gentle. Those things don't, you know, they don't go together. Vincent, $283 worth 2 3/4 of Nana Kim's pocket money per vid. You know, I should have called Mark over at Long Island Watches and offered to pay him juice, but I'm not sure he would have taken it. Clive Watch Wrangler, the rancher, says Bulova, the official watch of AC3. AC3 hates Bulova. By the way, Clivey, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the live stream tonight. Yesterday I went out to dinner with friends, and that's why I missed the live stream. But I love my Hobros, my horological brothers, and I'm really looking forward to the Cardinal Conclave, because basically without you guys, I would feel completely pathetic, because you allow me to pretend that I have real friends, and I don't have too many. That's why when I had the dinner with one of my besties and our partners, I was happy to go do it, because I don't have too many people like that. Of course, I do have a Jerry or two stalking me. So, Jerry D. Speaking of Jerry's, Jerry says, just bought my first Rolex Submariner in Manhattan 3 days ago. Thanks for all your Rolex information through the months. Well, that's great, Jerry. It's amazing that you were able to get one in Manhattan. I think you would have had an easier time of it here in Chicago at Razme or CD Peacock or James and Sons. Those are three, that I'm in and out of when it's hard getting them. Roger Chavez, oh, this has been redacted. Hey Clyde, I saw your comment. That wasn't nice. I mean no harm. We just bust each other's chops. If it's too much, I suggest using that vacuum to absorb the sand out of your female part. Hey, you leave the rancher alone. I don't know what you're arguing about with the rancher here, but the rancher is my horological son or daughter, or we're not too sure about that. He says he'll answer to my daughter, although he objects because he's extremely heterosexual. Let there be no question about it, right, then, Tingler? And Roger reassures me that he loves the rancher. Thank you for that. Rufus. Rufus says, I have the same Phoibos. It really is a true shitter. You really do get what you pay for. Well, Rufus, if you don't like it, why don't you sell it on eBay? Or I should say, tell me in the comments, Rufus, what was your purpose in buying the watch? I mean, mine is to have something that I could destroy, but if I don't destroy it, I don't hate looking at it. Oh, there's another thing, Rufus. I don't know where you got yours. Again, I got mine from Long Island Watch. They offer a return guarantee. If you open the box, you look at the watch and you go, fuck, I hate this thing. Close the box up, send it right back to them, and they will give you Mark Goldberg with an AC3 moment. And they will give you a refund or store credit. That's pretty amazing. So now if you peel the stickers off, size the bracelet, scratch it up, try it on, take off the hand tags, and then go, fuck, I don't like it. No, it's too late at that point. But if you open the watch, you pull it out, and you turn it around like a little monkey looking at things, and you go, I drunk dialed, I drunk purchased. Like Jen Tingler has made drunk dialing purchases online. Watches have arrived at his house. Things have appeared on his credit card statement that he didn't know about or expect. If you do that with this at Long Island Watch, if I had hated it when I opened the box, I could have just closed the box, sent it right back, and said, Mark, I want my money back. But I feel fine about this watch. So Rufus, I don't know what happened. Tell me in the comments. RJ Lane says, getting your dog book this weekend. Looking forward to it. Thank you. And I should, that reminds me, I should do a quick commercial. Now, let dogs be dogs. For some reason, I have been told by a couple of you subscribers that it's getting hard to find at Barnes & Noble. Now, that could be for one of two reasons. Either there's some problem in the distribution network, or they only stock 2 or 3 of any given book these days. Barnes & Noble being very, very careful about stock. So maybe they're only stocking, 2 or 3, and I've got viewers going in there buying them, and then it takes them, 6 weeks to get another copy in. But it's getting a little hard to find at Barnes & Noble. So it's either selling reasonably well there, or, they're just distribution problem. However, you can get it on Amazon.com. That's me. I'm the handsome one, and that's one of my best friends. He's a priest and a monk from the monks of New Skeet, Brother Christopher. I managed, the publisher does not give me these, and I stock them here at my little dog farm and sell them occasionally to my clients who need this book for homework. And I found it for $7.98 on Amazon the other day. So I bought, they had 9 copies. They said, we only have 9. So I bought them all. They're on the way now. And then I looked the other day and they were back up to $15, $16, $17. The cover price, there's the cover price, $28, $36 in Canada. But it's cheaper on Amazon.com. Of course, there's a table of contents. Oh, you guys want to see? Hang on. Let me show you this picture in here. Hang on. Uno momento, people, and then we'll get off of dogs and back onto watches. Guess who that is? That would be me. And that's me and my first dog. I was about 14 years old in that picture. And look at the coffee mug. You can see that I took the logo. I had the logo made from the picture. That was my first dog. His name was Gus. And he kind of got all this started for me. Okay, that's enough about dog books. But some people prefer to support the channel by buying that book, and and I appreciate it. All right, let me see. What did I miss in the comments? Ooh, lots of stuff. Hold on, let me go back. There's some rude comments in here, guys, so I'll get to them. Give me a minute. The dog is barking. I know she's going to have to go. Donkey Ball says he has to save up to get the Computron. He gets out $280 a week in unemployment benefits. You see, people? There are people who were like, that's a week's salary, unless you're fucking around with me. I don't know. Tony Soprano, hello, Dr. Goldwasser. Crappy watches and cheek whores. F me dead. Mark is live. I am. And I'm not talking about cat litter, although I could. I have a lot of it here. You want to hear about cat litter? Roger Chavez, I prefer watching the Rancher over Archie. Don't we all? Doesn't that go without saying? Archie jumped the shark in 2015. True, except for when we're on it. So that's soon. Roger Chavez, nonsensical rambling. I think he's talking about Archie, not us. Let's see. Clyde, how do you understand? I don't know what that meant, Clyde Z. I wanted to see what all the hype was about. This is Rufus. He wanted to see what all the hype was about. I bought a SARB 33 as well, which is a tad better. You're raising a good point, Rufus. And Rufus bought this watch because he wanted to see what all the hype was about. I told you I'm the only idiot who paid for this watch. Phoibos sent about, as near as I can figure, 10 or 15 or 20 different guys this watch, free. And then they all made videos about it where they were all like, oh my God, it's incredible. Like, I just love this thing. I'm telling you, this is a good watch for $283. But if you compare it to anything out of its price range, it's Chinese, junk. But I like junk food. Do you people never stop at Taco Bell and enjoy it once in a while? This is the Taco Bell of watches. But those guys would not say that because they got a free watch or they were in some way sponsored. You are getting a totally unvarnished opinion. I like this watch, and I liked my buying experience with LongIslandWatches.com. I liked it for what it is. Okay, so it's like the Taco Bell of watches, and I'm a guy I'll eat a Taco Bell now and again. But that being said, so you bought it to see what the hype is about, and then you bought a Sarb 033, and I don't know which one watch that is. I'll tell you this though, I own a couple of Seikos, and this kicks the shit out of both of them. And one of them is a limited edition Blue Lagoon, and the other is a special edition Patty. And this is crap loads better than either one of those. The only place where I would call them even would be the Loon. Would be about even. Clive Watch Wrangler. Vintinier is still having a high-pitched squeal every time you get inside of it. And you're referring to the Mr. 2, the MR2. Your little yellow car. Well, that's unfortunate. You just got it back from the mechanic. Vintinier says, Barnes & Noble are getting hard to find. Well, that's true. And in fact, I just read this article on Google News about how they may go out of business. And the fact that I read that article on Google News is the whole reason why they might go out of business, because books do not sell the same way that they did, certainly not on paper, as before the Kindle. And, I got a confession to make, guys. Here, hang on. I'm going to show you. Give me a second. So, bear with. Hang on. I'm getting there. I own my own book on, on my iPhone. And why? Because there's times when I want to refer to it when I'm not with the paper copy and somebody is asking me a question and I just need to tell them, here's the chapter or page where you'll find your solution. So this stuff has completely demolished. Isn't she pretty? This stuff has completely demolished the entire bookstore. Yeah, so it's really hard to find bookstores anymore. And it's unfortunate. I get to be an author, and it's like getting to be a rock star right at the time when, record sales are declining. So, okay. What else we got here? They put it in the romance section. Yes, that could be the reason why it's hard to find. Maybe I'm just going to the wrong spot. Roger Chavez, I understand when Suckerhorn said you're a backstabbing traitor, Clive. Why would you betray Arch by joining that vicious so-and-so, Andy Munter? Well, Clive has apologized for that and not done it since. And actually, I really like Andy, but Andy got in bed with somebody with one of the trolls in a way that I think is not honorable. So I really like Andy, but to a certain extent, you do have to take responsibility for the company you keep. Lay down with dogs, get up with fleas. And I say, no, let dogs be dogs. So Clive is back in, and Clive is a big booster of the AC3 channel. Tony saying, buy any piece of crap that you like, but don't try and tell us it's any good. Well, I don't think you've been listening, Tony Hill. I didn't say it was good. I said it was good enough for $283. That's what I said. I didn't suggest that you go out and get this watch. I suggested that, if you dig ditches or, you want to go to the gym and have a watch you can feel good about breaking, this wouldn't be a bad one. So, yeah, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, guys. I'm still a Rolex fanboy, okay? People are, for some reason, messing with Clive in the comments. I can't imagine why. Clive is my man. Clive Watch Wrangler says something about I was a collie. I wasn't the collie. I was the boy. And the collie wasn't even a collie. It was a Sheltie. Jeez. In the picture we're talking about here. Mateus just received the blue Vostok Amphibia. That's like a quarter of the price of this watch. And just wanted to see what WTF it is, and he likes it. He likes his Submariner more, but you understand the Vostok fans. Listen, there's times when you probably just shouldn't wear your $9,000 Rolex Submariner, and the Vostok or whatever G-Shock or something else that's you still want to watch, right? Still want to wear a watch on. People say, oh, but the Rolex is a tool watch, so you should be able to wear it through thick and through thin. That was true up until like the 80s, maybe kind of into the 90s. But the prices of the Rolex have just way, way, way surpassed tool watch prices, and they're now well into the luxury watch range. And who wants to screw up, bang, scratch, dent a $10,000 watch? It's just, you know, not too many people want to do that. So Rolex is no longer a tool watch. It's a luxury watch with an air of toolishness, much like myself. Portia Maven says, Archie's channel is polluted. Don't understand why Clive Mark et al. Waste their time on him. Well, you have to remember, he started all of this. You know, he is the inventor of the quick fist watch check. He is the governor's governor. He is the man among men. He invented e-begging. So he really was the start of this entire genre in many respects. And we have fistos and respectos. Crappy watches and cheap whores. I enjoy Mark's unbridled enthusiasm, high energy presentation, big happy smile, and overall fun demeanor. How does he do it? Well, Crappy, I don't talk in a single monotone voice like this with a slight New York accent, even though I am from the Pacific Northwest. I do not talk about menus, and I do not talk about cat litter, toothpaste, or Listerine for any great length of time. Thank you very much for your attention, and let's do this for about another hour and a half and see if anybody can possibly manage. Thank you, amen. Crappy, welcome to the club, Crappy. We bust balls because we love. We bust balls because we care. Clive Watch Wrangler, you forgot to ask Super Chat and PayPal to pay poor AC4. I don't know which AC4 you're talking about. You can PayPal me, K9shrink@AOL.com, CACINE. Yeah, anyway, but don't. Or you can Super Chat right here. But don't, unless you want to piss off the Wrangler. Clive Watch Wrangler says, Phoibos for hobos. For hobos. Yeah, okay, I'll go along with that. This is not a rich man's watch brand. It is not. Clive prefers to wear fake dead Nazi watches or the Gallet at 34 millimeters, 34 millimeters, where you can't hardly tell the time. I like a big fucking cheap watch to tell time with. Monsignor Neo, Mark, I am not a pet person, but if I had to get a dog, I'd want either a Doberman or a German Shepherd. Your thoughts? Man, I have had both. Let me. Well, you saw my German Shepherd a minute ago. She's very occupied right now. That's her. Her name is actually a day of the week, and the day of the week of her name is not Thursday, not Saturday, but the day that falls in the middle. Anyway, she's very content right now. And give me a second. Let me dig out my picture of me and my Doberman. Man. You know, it always hurts when you lose a dog. That's for sure. It hurts. But when I lost that Doberman, that's Friday there. You just saw her a second ago. It really hurts to lose a pet. But let me show you my boy. Let me show you my boy. Give me a second. This was the German Shepherd that I had before Friday, and I loved that dog. She was a scroungy looking shepherd, whereas Friday is a beautiful one. But her name was Sheena, and she was what a good girl. That's me and my sheepy. But give me a second. I'm gonna find my Doberman. There's me and my collie. He's gone too. You know, I'm getting old, guys. There's a lot of dead dogs in my background. Hang on. Oh, you know my collie? He was a cokehead. Yeah, he had a problem. Here's a picture of the Phoibos that I took out in its natural environment. That's the Phoibos. Clyde wants to see a nude picture of the Gin Tingler. And Clyde, this is what I've got to say to you about that one. And hold on, I'm looking for my Dobie. These things take time. Give me a moment. Ah, here he is. He was old by the time this picture was taken. His name was Diablo. And he saved my life. I was carjacked. I had that dog in the car, thank God. And he loved everybody, that dog. He was as friendly as Friday. He just loved everybody. But he did not love my carjackers, and he saved my life. So when he got sick and he got old, let's just say I could have bought a couple of Rolexes with what it cost me to keep him alive, but I was happy to do it. They would have killed me, those guys. They would have killed me. And that dog was, man, he's upstairs in a little box. Actually, most of the dogs that I showed you that are dead are upstairs in little boxes. I don't know, what you guys do. I get them in little boxes, and then one day I want to be in a little box, and then I want us all mixed together and like scattered to the four winds. Okay. Anyway, so I know that's all moving and heartfelt. Let's get back to our usual shenanigans. All right, let me see what you people have been saying. Give me a minute. Hang on. Do I have thoughts on the Certina? pH 200 meters. I don't know that watch at all. That the problem is going to be like, it's a question of price. If I think Certina is like a $500, $600, $700 to $800 watch. Tell me the price, guys. Like if I'm going to buy a real crappy watch, I don't want to spend $500. I want to spend under $300. That's just me. So Certina is not in my favorite brands, unless you could pick it up, at a garage sale or, eBay real cheap. Hello, Deacon. Lots of comments. Long Island watches. This is crappy watches and cheap horse. Long Island watches sells shitters and is in bed with the fake aristocrat. Long Island watches also buys views. I'd never shop there. Well, crappy watches and cheap whores. You have made like probably 8 or 9 or 10 hours worth of live stream videos about what you might buy, but you haven't ever bought, and you probably won't. So although I respect you as a fellow YouTuber, Long Island Watch is certainly not losing any money by losing your business, because you don't buy watches from anybody. All I can tell you is I had a good buying experience, and there's plenty of people who want to look at watches in the, $100, $200, $300, $400, $500 range. There's plenty of those people. I am not typically one of them, but I do not mock those people either. I do not. You never have to recharge a book, says Smoke Eater. That's true. And, I like paper, but I do like having watches on my iPhone also, because it's the best of both worlds. Booster, Long Island Watches sells $200 Seikos for $400. Maybe. I don't know about that. Clive Watch Wrangler asks, is luxury to last on your iPhone? If so, would it still be a smartphone? Luxury to last, of course, is the Pontiff's ebook, which you can buy on Amazon.com. Just go on Amazon.com and look up Luxury to Last by Paul Pluta. I don't really know what it costs, but I do know you can buy the Pontiff's ebook. Vincent says, imagine if Mark wears this watch and Clive wears that Seiko Pogue on the next AC3 stream, which is tonight, by the way, and AC3 with his bluesy, that surely will boost up his ego to sky high. I have a bluesy also. I mean, he has gold through the buckle. Mine does not have gold through the buckle, but that's, the only difference. And you want to know what? I almost never wear it because it has hollow center links like his, a rattly bracelet like his, and a crappy stamp metal clasp like his. So I'm not real impressed by his bluesy. The Rancher and I are butt buddies on the SD43, the Redline 43 millimeter Sea Dweller, and on the Explorer 2 42 millimeter, although I've got polar and he's got black. You know what I don't have, guys? I just don't have a regular Submariner. I have a James Cameron 44 millimeters, like this thick. I have the 43 millimeter Sea Dweller, 43 millimeters, and like that thick, still thick, but eminently wearable. I just don't have a Supercase Maxi Dial Submariner, so been thinking about that. I might visit the Rancher's crematoria and funeral parlor to see if I could find one. Booser, what is the best dog for feeble old ladies? Don't laugh, Booser. That's actually an excellent question. It's a very, very good question. Because all the time I get feeble old ladies who buy 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100-pound dogs of breeds. I've had ladies limp in here at the age of 80 years old with like a 75-pound wild collie. Or I remember one came in with a St. Bernard, and I'm not even kidding. And you say to these ladies, or men, like I had a guy, an elderly guy come in bleeding because the dog like popped right up into his face and broke open his nose. And it was like a 60-pound wild animal. And this guy was like 80 and kind of delicate. So it's not a woman thing. It's a human thing. And you start talking to these people. And what you realize is a lot of the times is they've had this kind of dog all their life. All their life. And the last one just died at the age of like 15, But here's the thing. When you remind them, how old were you when you got that dog? 65. Yeah, but now you're 80. So for people who are in delicate condition, you don't want a real heavy dog because as those dogs age, like I was stupid to get Friday, honestly. Like I'm 60, almost 61, and by the time I'm 70, I'll be 70 years old lifting an 80-pound dog into the fucking car. I'll have to get her a ramp because she'll reach the point where she's unable to jump in the car, and I'm going to reach the same point where I'm unable to boost her into the car, so I'm going to need a ramp for her. So I don't know what's good. I like Boston Terriers, Yorkies. King Cavalier Charles Spaniel is a really great breed. They're little teeny tiny things, and they usually have a heart murmur, so they're not too active, and I'm not kidding. You just don't want one with like a grade 3 heart murmur because then they don't live, nearly. But a nice grade 1 heart murmur, they're kind of quiet. They run around a little bit, and then they get tired and they conk out. That's a great breed. They're like, 15, 16 pounds. So smaller, mild-mannered dogs like that. You can ask me more specific questions in the comments if you want, but that's my quickie answer for that one. Somebody's saying Andy is a compulsive liar. Well, who among us is not? We're on YouTube, people. We have to invent shit to say, and so we're compulsively lying constantly. Nick says that 40 millimeter is too small for Mark. I probably ought to get used to it a little though, right? I mean, I agree. I don't wear much in the way of 40 millimeter watches. I have a Batman, and I didn't like it until it got really expensive. Then I started to like it. So maybe now I could like a Submariner. Clive is a man's man. Depends on how you mean that, but I'm going to go along with that. Clive is a man's man. Clive is a manly man. He is. He's maintaining the integrity of the family. Do you think Clive's new? Oh, I can't read this. Rich buddy. If I knew how to ban you, I would ban you. Can I do it? I can put you in timeout. Rich buddy has been put into timeout. I don't know where you get your information, Rich, but shame on you. When the rancher wants to make an announcement, he will. What else? I think Clive pulls Deacon. I think Clive pulls gold teeth after removing the dead man's plagos. I do not disagree with that statement. Mousy Pluta Prestige. Where'd you? Things just disappeared. Mousy Pluta Prestige. You don't look 60 or 50 for that matter. Good for you, man. Well, thank you so much. Although I do look wrinkly. Yes, thank you. Trust me, it's an effort. Crabby Watches and Cheap Whores. Clive and Mark are really sticking it to me today. If this is what it means to be a cardinal, then I prefer to stay a rabbi. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about becoming a cardinal. It takes 1,000 subscribers. You're not there yet. But yes, this is what it means. Ball busting is what we do. Okay. Monsignor Neo says, get them a Westie. Well, that's a feisty kind of a dog, though. A real yappy, barky. So adorable, and I've met some really nice ones. But I would not classify very many of the terriers, West Highland White Terrier. They're ratting dogs meant to, kill vermin on the farm. They're really feisty. So I'm not entirely sure I will agree with you on that one. Nick Gaddis says, MDWE for life. MDWE, I'm flashing you our gang sign. We're It's a good point. Modern day watch enthusiasts, stop on over and see if you can make it in. We're not for everybody. We're not for the faint of heart. We're not for the thin-skinned. I don't dare post this watch. I'm an admin on MDWE. I don't dare post this watch over there. That's why I have a YouTube channel, because I can talk about stuff that I can't discuss on MDWE. I can barely talk about Rolex over there. But if you're into obscure stuff and vintage, well, let me tell you what, you can learn an awful lot about horology over at MDWE. Some of you in the comments here have had the pleasure of being in MDWE temporarily and getting kicked out. Do you know one of the, okay, since we're on the topic of MDWE, let me tell you something, guys. Here's the inside scoop. You want to know why Bill Sanders? Now, if you don't know Bill Sanders, he's the guy who wears the beret and usually the Depends diaper. He talks about strong horology. The reason that Bill Sanders hates me is that I kicked him. I personally pushed the ban button. I kicked that motherfucker out of MDWE. And then accidentally, 4, 5, 6 months later, somebody let him back in. And you know what I did? I kicked him out again. I have had the unique pleasure of kicking Bill Sanders out of modern day watch enthusiasts, not once, but twice. So that's why he doesn't like me. And the reason that Bear Cunty doesn't like me is because I kicked him out once. Sadly, nobody let him back in. So I only got to kick Bear Cunty out once. But both of them were kicked out for country. Okay, so now you know what I think of those guys. Anyway, what a unique pleasure I had there. That was so much fun. I wish I could kick them out again, but then I'd have to let them in, and yeah, probably not going to bother. Okay, Mark, can we see you make out with that good-looking German Shepherd, Decon? You know, be nice. It's disgusting. All right, but only a little. Friday, come here. Come here. Come here. All right, come here. All right. Yeah, she can give me a little tongue, but I'm certainly not going to give her any. Christ only knows what she was licking a few minutes ago. Clive, same with you, Mousy. We were talking about your IQ right. Apparently, Clive and Mousy are fighting in the comments. Clivey, let me know if you need me to put Mousy in a timeout for you, son. If I need to, I'll do it. AWOL says, never thought I'd laugh about a heart murmur. Right? Right? I mean, I got some ideas and concepts here. I mean, like when I'm 80 years old, I want a dog with a substantial heart murmur. That's what I'm going to go out and buy, because I don't want that poor dog outliving me. I don't want them discovering my body, you know? Okay, Clive. Portia Maven says, Clive and Mark are jealous, crappy, stay the course. Fistos. That's exactly right. You definitely stay the course. We do not do this for the approval of one another. We do it because we're very, very, very mentally ill, and we have to. And I think crappy definitely is one of us. So no problem there. Crappy has the same taste in watches as TVG. He just doesn't get paid to have those opinions. So I think Crappy's opinions, quite frankly, are a whole lot more honest. I think Crappy's a very honest guy. Nick Gaddis, let's be honest, Mark. You've booted so many people out of the group. Yes. Well, not only me. I mean, I'm just one of, like 10 guys. But yes, we've given a lot of people the boot. That is true. Hisham in the house. Hisham, I didn't see you. Hisham, you were laughing at Vintinier's comment that you paid the same amount for your last slave as I paid for my watch. And guys, I was born in the wrong damn country. I was born in the wrong place. I need to move. Mousy, Clive, do you feel better about making your bed or bitter? Start the day right, Clivers. Clive says he's feeling bitter. Crappy. I've been sharing my shopping research on my videos. I research everything before I buy. I'd rather do that than keep flipping watches endlessly. Whatever. Oh, Crappy. Did you get a little sand in your vaginal area? Well, you come right on over here and we'll give it a little wipe. Here, all better. Okay, Mousy says, come on, Clive. Deacon says, hey, Hisham. Clive says, nah, Mousy's good. We have mutual foes. Perfect. Then we're all on the same team here. Monsignor Neo, Crappy, your videos would be useful to many people. Just title them so people can find them. Yes, it would be useful there are many people with insomnia in this world who need Crappy's channel. So you should be labeling those. Nick, Mark, what about your opinions on the Seiko price hikes? I don't know anything about the Seiko price hikes unless you're talking about that crappy blue Alpinist. The green Alpinist was crappy, and then they put out an equally crappy blue one and just marked it up $200. So I'm off of Seiko. I'm really off of them. Like, how is it that you have this brand that can't seem to line their shit up? Like, till you get up into their $5,000–6,000 watches, then they can. The problem is that you sacrifice. Yes, I'm a flipper. I admit it. I'm a flipper. When I buy a watch, I need to know that when I get tired of it, as I almost inevitably will, that I can get out of it without like chopping off half my arm and losing half my value. And unless you buy a Seiko really carefully, a Grand Seiko, then you can't do that. You're gonna lose a lot of money. So Seiko is not grand. It is Seiko, but it's not that grand. Rolex, fuckers, Rolex. Crappy, we enjoy watching your search. I'm sure that there are people who do. I recommend that you all tune in. I am a supportive fellow YouTuber. TGV sucks, says Nick Gaddis. I can't watch them. Smarmy is the word that comes to mind. It doesn't seem sincere. There's a smarmy factor there that I just can't get over. He puts a lot of editing and effort into those videos, but I just wish I didn't want to. He has punch me face, I think he got beat up on the playground a lot. Clive, I really do love you, says Mousy. Well, there's love in the room. This is a good thing. I think we're getting down to the end here, guys. I don't know how long I've been on, but let me just get to the bottom of this. I'm starting to get a little hoarse. The dog is starting to sound like she's going to take a shit in the kitchen, unless I do something about this. So I think I'm getting down to the bitter end. I want to thank you for having joined me. We started out with a discussion about the Phoibos Ocean Master $284 purchase that I made from Long Island Watches. I am not sorry that I did it, but I think there's a fair amount of, it's not a bad looking watch. I think there's a fair chance that somewhere in the next 6 or 8 months, I'll just be selling it on eBay. And that's the thing, guys. When you buy a watch, have some thought about what happens when the love affair is over. If you're the kind of guy who doesn't mind, a rack of watches that you never wear and thousands of dollars tied up in that drawer, if that doesn't bother you, no sweat. But I'm the kind of person who needs to be able to recycle the money. Yes, I have a lot of money tied up in watches. That's true, I do. But I want to avoid constantly adding new money till like I look around, I'm like, fuck, what have I done? I want to take a trip, or I want to buy a car, or I want to give a gift to one of the kids, and now I got to sell a watch to do it. Man, I want to have like X amount of dollars, and I think of it's like recycling, constantly recycling. What just happened? Thank you, Clivey. I've just received a $50 super chat. Made the entire hour that I've been here worthwhile. The rest of you cheap bastards, look at Clivey for half of Tan's tombstone. Thank you, Clivey. Unexpected, unnecessary, but very, very most kind of you. Here's what the rancher is talking about. I'll tell the rest of you cheap bastards. Not one of you gave me 99 cents, but thank you for the $50. Clive and I made a tombstone. It's a gray monolith, and it says Tanzeel, I'm sorry, on there, and it's on Archie's fridge. So when you go on to the live stream tonight, Archie's live stream will start at 7 p.m. Central Time, we believe, tonight. So when you get on there, have a look, and you'll see this big gray thing on the fridge. If there's a chance, I will ask him to zoom in on it, and what you'll see is it says here lies Tanzeel, and then underneath it says he really did take it with him, because he cut off funding to the rancher because he got angry at Mousy. Mousy, you did this. This is your fault, Mousy. Actually, we should be giving Mousy the super chats, because I think he did us a favor. Guys, this is Mark Goldberg, and Friday and the Phoibos. There's Friday. Can you see her? Yeah. She finally calmed down, but I still think she might have to take a dump, so I'm going to let her out. I will see you and you and you and you and you tonight on the AC3 live stream. Later, guys.